Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the first mobility flow for the spine section. Today, we're going to be doing all of our movements on the floor, and it's all about creating awareness around how your spine should be able to move. If there are some movements that you're unable to do, I'll be showing you some regressions along the way, but also keep in mind that we have videos dedicated to regressing each of the movements that you see here in this video. So let's get into it. Grab yourself a band, completely optional. We're gonna start with the resisted cat-cow position. The cat-cow position is going to have you in an all fours position like so, knees underneath hips, wrists underneath shoulders. This is the starting position. But if you wanna add the band, which I suggest, you're going to wrap it around your back and place yourself back into that similar position. The reason why we have the band is to create feedback. That extra tension is pulling my spine to the ground, and now when I do the cat portion of the exercise, I have something to really push against to learn how to flex my spine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to relax and sink as far as our spine will allow us. This is extension, this is flexion. And now what I would like for you to do is allow your neck to follow the movement pattern as well, and follow along with me. With each rep, you're trying to get more and more range of motion. Couple more. Awesome. You can modify the cat-cow if you're really trying to focus on the lower back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together or push the shoulder blades as far as you can forward. This is gonna lock your upper back into place, and you can just focus on the lower portion of your spine if that's a hot spot for you. Next, we're going to be moving into the bird dog position, which is going to be back in that all fours position. Once again, knees underneath hips, arms or wrists underneath shoulders. And the goal of this movement is to stay as stable as possible. If we were going to put a cup of water right here on the hips, it should not spill, okay? From this position, you're going to extend. Notice how I'm keeping a straight spine. We're trying to stay as long as possible. By being in this position, we're only 2 points of our body are in contact with the ground. Our body wants to rotate and twist. If you stay stable, you're building stability around your spine. If you want to intensify the bird dog, stay as long as possible, and then bring the knee and elbow together into a crunch, and then extend through again. Keep coming along with me. Couple more. And last one. Awesome. The whole point of that is to stay as stable as possible. So if you feel wobbly, slow it down. The next thing we're going to be moving into is the lateral bend. You can do this from a standing or seated position. Because everything is in a seated position, I just figured that we'll keep that here as well. You can grab onto that band if you want, but it's not a necessity. You're going to bring your arms up wide, keep them as tall as possible, and you're just going to laterally bend as far as your spine will allow you, feeling that tension on the opposite side of you bending. Breathe in deeply to increase the stretch, and then bring it back to neutral and repeat to the other side. It just came to my attention. Let's say you're having trouble with being in crisscross applesauce. You can always put a block underneath your hips and work on pushing your knees down to the ground to help restore that range of motion. Couple more. Awesome. I even got a little bit of a shoulder pump here. Now we're going to be going into the book opener's position, which you're going to lay on your side, arms out in front like so. Bend your knees, but it doesn't necessarily matter where your legs are. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that top arm and rotate backwards as far as it will let you, trying to get that rotating shoulder onto the ground. Once you reach that position, come on back to the starting position. You're gonna see me bend my arm just because of space reasons, but ideally you wanna keep a straight arm. Couple more. Last one. Beautiful. What I did there in the middle of the rotations is I did bend my legs a little bit more, propping my top leg a little bit more in front of my bottom leg. It helped with the rotation, I say counter rotation, so you can actually get a nice deep stretch. Let me show you. So, what I mean by that is we're gonna set up with that same position on our shoulder, arms in front, bend those legs, well, the top leg, like so. This being bent in front, with the bottom leg straight. When you rotate, you'll be able to use this as a counterbalance and get a deep stretch. If you feel a couple pops and clicks, completely normal. Another way to intensify this stretch is when you're in the bottom, you could take a deep breath in, slowly let it out. and then return. By increasing the pressure in your chest and body, you can intensify the stretch. Couple more. Last one. Beautiful. Then we're going to be moving into our plank position. Now there's plenty of ways that we can modify the plank. So if your wrists are hurting, that's completely okay. We can find ways to make it easy for you. So let me show you the standard plank first. You're going to get into the all fours position like we practiced earlier. Then once your arms are underneath or your hands are underneath your shoulder, walk those toes back with a nice wide base. This would be the plank position. And if you're not feeling your core activated, it's probably because your hips are sinking like so. So what we need to do is engage that core, lift those hips to the sky until we are in line, our whole body's in line with one another, okay? If this is too hard for you, what you can do is you can come down on your elbows, like so. If this is too hard, bring the knees down, like so. If any of these variations are bothering you, there is some more that I show in this separate video for the plank. But I'm gonna go back into the stacked position of a standard plank, and then we're gonna hold. Now I don't want you to be holding your breath during this movement. I want you to breathe. I don't want your core stability to be dependent on you holding your breath, because let's be real, how often are you holding your breath in real life, right? So we want to be able to be strong in absence of breath. Breath can also increase our strength, but let's use it as a tool, not as a thing that we need. Keep holding for me. If you need to take breaks, that's completely fine. And break. The last thing that we're going to be doing is Superman flutters. The Superman flutter is great for localizing tension on our lower back. A lot of times we try to hide from our lower back tension, but we need to actually build that area so it can actually absorb and take on additional stress. We don't want that to be our weak link. So this is a great exercise to start introducing that tension in a safe way. So you're gonna get straight on your tummy, like the Superman position. Arms out in front, legs out that way. And then let me show you how to make this position easier before we get into the actual position. So Superman position regression would be just working on getting the legs off the ground or just getting the arms off the ground. You can decide which one you want to play around with, but the Superman flutter kicks, you want both sides off the ground, arms and legs. Then we add the flutter kicks. So we flutter with the legs and we flutter with the arms. Now our spine has to try to stabilize this dynamic position. So as we're in this position, everyone start to do the flutter kicks and arm movements, and we'll do it together for about 30 seconds. And go. Almost there. And pause. If you have to take breaks, if you have to slow down the movement, that's completely fine. It's all about taking tension, placing on that lower back, and a tolerable dose. Now we're gonna go right up to the top again with our resisted cat-cows. All forward position. Band around the back if that's what you're doing with me. Remember, we're trying to get more range with each one of our reps. Let the band take you down, tummy to the ground, head up to the sky, and tuck the chin. Spine, whoop. That's one thing that could happen. And then you go spine to the sky. Okay, once again, so tummy to the ground, look up, and then curl the spine. A way to get more flexion out of your spine is to push your shoulder blades away from the spine. Basically push your arms or your palms into the ground, making your shoulder blades protract, which just means separate from each other. Last one. Beautiful. And then we're going to be going into the bird dog position. All fours again. Straight spine. Arm as far as you can out. Leg as far as you can out. And return. Remember, keeping those hips as stable as possible. If there was a glass of water on your hips, it would not spill. Almost there. Awesome. Then we're going to be going into the lateral bend. I'm going into the crisscross applesauce position. You can do it in a standing position or in any position that you feel comfortable. We just want to make sure we have a tall spine. I'm going to grab the band, but you can just put your arms above your head. And we're just going to laterally bend as far as our spine will allow us. At the bottom, take a big breath in, let it all out, and then return. Bringing that breath into the rib cage will help it expand further, giving us a deeper stretch. Last one. Moving into the book openers. We're going to bend the knees, nice and comfortable, stacked hip position, arms out in front. Here, I'll get to the front of the mat here. Give myself a little bit of room, and then rotate. Having that top leg further out in front can help counterbalance you if you feel like you're rotating too far. One more. Awesome. Same thing to the other side. Top leg in front of the bottom leg. Relatively stacked. And let me get to the front a little bit more. Remember, if you can keep a straight arm, it's more ideal. I just ran out of space. Trying to pin that moving shoulder to the ground. You could breathe in deeply at the bottom of this stretch to get more of a tension. More tension on the movement. Two more. Beautiful. Now we're going to be going into the plank position. Remember, you can do it on your knees or your elbows. I'm just going to do it from what most people would call the push-up position. And I'm also going to make sure I'm pushing my shoulders apart, my shoulder blades apart. And hold. We're making sure the hips are not sagging below, just nice in line with the rest of the body. And make sure we're breathing deeply the whole time into our stomachs, not holding any tension, making sure that we're strong in the absence of breath. And break. The last move of this circuit is going to be the flutter kick Superman position. Okay, what we're going to do is back into the Superman position onto our tummies, arms out and top. We're going to then extend the spine, bringing our chest, arms, and legs off the ground, like so. And then we're gonna flutter kick for about 30 seconds. And break. Now notice in that last movement, I used a regression where I actually pinned my fingers to the ground It allowed me a little bit more stability so I can use my flutter kicks a little bit more. Remember, there's not a lot of rules to this. It's all about putting tension in the area in a tolerable dose, okay? I did 2 rounds today. If you want to do more rounds, that's great. That's awesome. That's all about adding more resistance to the body. Once again, pushing the envelope little by little in a tolerable dose. If you can only do 1 round, start there. If you can do 3 rounds and add a little bit of resistance where you feel necessary, I think it's time to move up to the next mobility flow. All right, peace.